Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, we're going to do a What Have I Done video, which What Have I Done videos are videos where I paint figures for my eBay store, and I like to show off, what I did and what I'm putting up for sale. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at Offensive Miniatures British Paras. Did quite a few of those, and this is what we're going to show off. Now, this first thing that we've got here is the 6-pounder. One crew member is actually mounted on the gun itself because he's sitting on the carriage. And he's actually has a shoulder brace that attaches directly to the gun. So I couldn't individually mount him, or I didn't want to individually mount him. But the additional crew members, I did individually mount. And so you can remove those as casualties, or you could like if you dismount from the gun or what have you, you can pull them off. And there you have it. Now, I also did a pack howitzer, 75 millimeter pack howitzer. And remember, I do a lot of this basing specifically for bolt action, but it could be used for any other game system that you wish. But on this pack howitzer, the crew is on a light howitzer or light gun. It's a crew of 3, but you have the option of paying an additional few points for a spotter. So what I did was I went ahead and included 4 figures so that you could have a complete gun and spotter. Now, these are removable. Right, so you could abandon the gun or remove casualties as they're taken. I like that quite a bit. I used a lot of, you'll notice throughout all these bases, I did use a lot of tufts. I don't know, I just went hog wild on the tufts. All right, let's look at the next one. All right, we've got ourselves a 2-inch mortar. It's a little mortar team. I got your loader and your gunner. Now, these were painted using the MIG paint techniques. Using MIG paints and their Paratrooper paint set. I think they turned out really well, personally. So I think the MIG set actually had because I have the AK set and I also have a ton of Vallejo paints, but the MIG paints seemed to be the colors that I was wanting, and so that worked out really well for me. All right, we got something a little bit larger. We got the 3-inch mortar. This would be, 3 inches is only 75 millimeter. So you would think, I don't know, 81 millimeter for the US and 3-inch for the British. I don't know. They just like those imperial measurements. Now, most of these models that you just saw are all based on wooden bases. In this case, it's a Litco 60 millimeter, I believe. Yep, 60 millimeter base. Yeah, and the British machine guns I always thought were a little back-asswards. where it has the two legs in the front and then one leg in the back. Um, for stability purposes on recoil, I would think you might want two legs in the back, but I guess I guess it doesn't really matter because one leg directly in the back. It would only matter if he starts pivoting the gun, you know, moving it from left to right. The US tends to put two in the back specifically for that. So, like if I was to shoot 45 degrees off to the left, I would have uh, a, a leg bracing for the recoil, where this guy wouldn't. So I don't know what the British were thinking when they made that. Well, you know, their tripods like that. Now, on this model, I did not attach the hose to the gun, and I did not attach the ammo belt to the gun. I left those separate. If you look real close, you can see that they're not glued in. I did that intentionally. It could go either way. You could do it either way. And if you were to purchase this on my eBay store, you could request that I actually glue them together. I would have no problem with that. Or when you get it, you can glue it yourself. All right, now the next two are kind of special. All right, now I've got two sniper teams. They come as separate models. So I could have based them individually, but the brick wall in their front, the part of the cover, and the rubble that they're leaning up against fit together as in they were just one model cut down the center. Well, it's actually a jagged line, but those two jagged lines fit together perfectly like a puzzle. So I went ahead and put them together, painted them as a whole, and you got your sniper team on a base. Now, these bases are smaller than the mortar or heavy machine gun 60 mil. These are 50 mil because I figured since it's only a two-man team, it doesn't need the 60. And I tried switching up their tufts a little bit just to give a little bit of variety. If you were to pick up both of these teams, you would at least have two different teams and not two identical teams, even though they're pretty much painted identical. And the Denison smocks on all these guys were a challenge, but not something that couldn't be overcome. It was actually very fun to paint them. All right, now here is kind of an unusual team. This is a multinational Jedburgh team. I had to do a little research on the Jedburghs. Jedburgh was an officer that came together and picked the best soldiers from all nationalities, you know, just the best of the best, to send them in behind enemy lines and work with the Maquis. So, you know, in France, in the resistance, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I didn't really know when I ordered these for sale what I was getting. I mean, I knew what I was getting figure-wise, but I didn't know what kind of models these were. Now, in bolt action, the closest thing I could find was you have multinational commandos, because these guys are actually labeled SAS. They're just like a special department of the SAS. And then, but if you look through your SAS Army list, you don't see anything that is like this. But there are units out there called Intel units I was thinking that these guys would be closest or best used as an intel unit, but it doesn't matter. You can just throw them in with your multinational commandos. Thought that was pretty cool. Got an American over here, a Frenchman. I think they said not a Belgian or maybe Holland, and then maybe a Brit. You'll see like this guy's got a Sten gun leaning up against his decryption device, where like this guy's two of these guys are carrying the M1 carbine, and then this guy here, he's got a Thompson. All right, next unit. All right, now these are a bunch of Bren gunners, and I've got a couple of assistant gunners designated, like this guy with a magazine in his hand, getting ready to hand it over, and these two guys with ammo boxes. But other than that, I haven't really decided how I'm going to set up my squads yet for sale, because I put them in squad lots. But I will base it on the Bren guns. And I have 6 Bren guns, so I'm sure I'm going to put 6 squads out there. And you can see like these guys are pretty identical, and these guys are pretty identical. And these two are identical, but this guy's a little bit different. His arm was actually separate. And then these two guys obviously are prone. Yeah, these gunners here, their arms were separate. I had to glue them on. Uh, yeah. So there was a little bit of arm gluing on some of these, like his gun. I think the hand with the magazine in it, I think I had to glue that on too. Trying to remember, but now on their flesh, I this is the first time I did this, but I had actually a mixture. I did a 50-50 mix of Vallejo flat flesh and the AK light flesh. Actually, the AK light flesh is not really very light. It's actually kind of dark, almost like barbarian flesh. Yeah, I don't know why they call it light flesh, but I mixed the flat flesh from Vallejo into it to kind of subdue it a little bit, and I think it came out with the strong tone wash that I put over the entire models. I think that flesh color came out really good. I think I'm going to start doing that from now on. All right, now these guys are Piat, or I thought it was personal infantry anti-tank, but somebody said it was projector infantry anti-tank, which I could see that because it's a spring-loaded rocket propelled. It's not a rocket propelled, it's spring propelled little shell. But either way, I've got 2 teams. I've got the gunner and the prone assistant, and then I've got the redeploying gunner with his redeploying assistant. I really like the offensive miniatures British helmets. How if they have scrim on them, it's very clearly defined, and you can pick it out. I did not dry brush. I guess I could have dry brushed, but I didn't. I individually painted each strand of their helmet scrim. All right, now before I jump into my infantry collection, I want to show off that there were actually additional crew members. What do you call it? Offensive Miniatures doesn't care about what game system you're using. They just put crew members in their little boxes. And in this case, I had 3 extra crew members for anti-tank guns or howitzers or mortars or whatever you want to use them for. And I went ahead and individually based them, and I'm going to sell them as a crew without the gun. So if you have a gun and you want to use them, that's great. I might, in the meantime, I might find someone selling an individual gun with no crew. And if that's the case, I might pick up a gun and then convert these into that crew if it doesn't sell. All right, let's look at the infantry. All right, now these guys are all Sten gunners or submachine gunners of some kind. I think I have one guy in there that's carrying a Thompson, but majority of these guys, I think it's this I think it's this guy that's got a Thompson. Yep, he's got a Thompson, the guy pointing. But yeah, this lets you know how many submachine gunners that I have that could be used as NCOs or squad leaders. But they could also be used in like upgrades. So squads can get an additional number of submachine gunners. So that's these guys. I love the way their berets came out. I did not use like a bright red. What I used was P3 paint, actually. I think it's called K-Door red. It's kind of a deep maroon red. I like it. I think it's appropriate. How many of them do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 12. And if I'm only putting 6 squads together, I might be able to do a 7th squad of just submachine guns or without a Bren gun. We'll figure it out when I put my squads together. All right, let's take a look at the next group. All right, now these are your seniors, right? You got your either captain or majors or FOs or any of that type of model. Now this guy right there's got binoculars, but this guy here, he has a radio, you know, one of those chest-mounted radios. So I'm going to sell him as a radioman, obviously. I think I'm going to sell this guy as an FO or a spotter. And then these guys will just be officers. Yeah. Okay, and these are the riflemen, right? Now there are a lot of duplicates here. Like you'll see these 2 prone riflemen. They're duplicates. You'll notice a couple of these kneeling troopers. They're duplicates, but on the majority of them, they're not. Now these two guys, they're unique in the fact that they have these shovels on their back uh, underneath their pack. There's like one guy firing. Um, almost everyone else is either reloading or moving or, looking. No, I guess he would be firing. I thought about making him a sniper, but he doesn't have a scope, and I already have those two sniper teams, so I'm going to include him in the squads as just a rifleman. So this is going to be filler to get the squads filled up. And if I have enough, we'll go ahead and do a 7th squad without a Bren gun. But most likely, we'll just be making the 6 squads. And this is the last group. So guys, if you liked this, like the video. If you don't like these guys, still like the video. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification icon so that whenever I upload videos, you'll be notified. Also, if you're interested in these figures, they're all going to be going up on my eBay store either today or tomorrow, which is May 30th is when I'm recording this video. If they've already sold by the time you get there, you can always have me commissioned, and I'd be glad to paint these for you. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out and checking this out, and I will see you in the next one.